By what name are you known?
There are some who call me Tim.
Get him. Get him.
Hey, what's going on? You're tuning into another episode of 20 Tim Minutes. I am your host, Tim McCarthy. This is a podcast that focuses on mental health through humor, insight, and personal stories. What's going on, everybody? I'm back. It's been about a week and a half off, and I apologize for those that are active listeners. I know how it is to be on a schedule, and then that schedule gets fucked up. I'm sorry for fucking things up. Today is Thursday. What? That's when I usually release interviews. And today I wanted to make sure because I got back from Nashville on Tuesday and I didn't want to rush the episode. So I'm going to make it Thursday and there's going to be a little break of interviews coming up because I just need it. I like breaks. I need to worry about my own mental health as well. And yeah. Go to 20timminutes.com to learn more about me and the podcast. You can buy merch at my store. You can buy hats, t-shirts, all that junk. I need to get more like stuff, but no one's buying this shit. So maybe not. And then don't forget I got the app on the iTunes and app Google Play store. It's free. It has so many things like listening to the podcast or buying merch, learning more about me. So it's kind of like, and you get notifications too when I have new episodes out. But yeah, I'm back. I went to Nashville, had a great time. Went and saw an old college friend. I went to the Predators game. I met Scott Hamilton randomly. Talk about a random find in the wild. Scott Hamilton, figure skating legend. Why did we know so many figure skaters back in the 90s? Like Christina Yamaguchi, Tanya Harding. Now I'm forgetting all of them, but we knew so many names. Nancy Kerrigan, Brian Boitano. Those are names, and I'm pretty sure Brian Boitano might be made up, but we'll see. But yeah, Nashville was a good time. I had a great time. Me and Jacqueline went down and had a lot of laughs. A lot of good times. There's a lot of live music. There's a lot of live music at every bar you go to, and that downtown street Broadway is super expensive when it comes to beers and everything else there. And then the band doesn't get paid a lot, so they go around with a bucket asking for tips. And I think that's very tough to deal with because if you say no, they're like, what the fuck? You're just sitting here not going to pay for music. But I didn't sign up for the music. I signed up to go to a bar and pay for expensive drinks. But we went to other bars near our hotel. And again, I've been off work for a little bit now. I go back to work on Christmas, which is fine by me. And then I'm off again for New Year's for quite some time. So I am taking care of myself. And I'm glad. Excuse me. How was that? How's hearing me cough? And yeah, so it's good to be back and had a lot of fun. And it's good. Yeah, I'm going to keep on trailing off. I've been having a lot of problems with my weight lately. I think taking Abilify, which is like a psychiatric, what's the word I'm looking for? Like not schizophrenic, but it helps those psycho moments for me. But I guess I was reading that it does help not gaining weight. And I'm at 170 right now. I'm a 5'6" human. And that's a little bit over the weight that I want to be. When I trained for jiu-jitsu, I weighed 145 pounds. Like I was a lean, mean fighting machine, even though I lost. And I've just been really depressed sometimes, and I've been eating my feelings. And I think with everything going on in my life, like still going through a separation, still living with my wife and a roommate, which is great. It actually been going awesome. We actually all get along. It's like a weird Three's Company. My life's a fucking gong show. If you listen to this and like you're a diehard fan of 20 Minutes, you know the ups and downs of my life. And I like to be a little bit transparent, but that's one that I don't really talk about too much in detail because why would I? No one wants to hear about that. Maybe you do. Maybe you do. But yeah, my weight gain has been really tough. And I know I can put in the work, but I don't have that motivation anymore. And I'm trying to look for that motivation. And I take my shirt off and look in the mirror and I'm like, ugh, gross. Then I step on the scale and I'm like, ugh, gross. Then I eat food. I'm like, yum. Buffalo chicken sangies. That's my weakness, buffalo chicken. I want to do more with the podcast because I know Instagram reels and videos are like the new sensation, and putting captions on videos, which I still don't know how to fucking do. And I need to put myself out there some more. And I get so nervous because I thought I had thick skin, but I don't want to get made fun of. Like, even when like people joke around with me, like I can take a good joke and I can give it back. But sometimes I think maybe I don't have thick skin. Like, somebody commented on one of my reels and they said, stop trying to, pretty much like, stop trying to glorify mental illness. And I'm like, I'm not doing that. Sorry that I'm laughing about a thing that I have to deal with. But it's stuff like that, that like, I'm so fucking petty, Tom Petty, that like when someone makes a comment like that, I want to clap back, but I didn't. Because I'm the king of clapbacks. But yeah, I think just I'm getting in my own way, and I got to put myself out there some more. And I think that's gonna be my New Year's resolution, is like try to do like more comedic and more PSAs for mental illness, mental health. And I get some ideas for doing reels, and I want to do some, and I just want everyone to like them, even if they don't. So if I do something, I'm very insecure about it. And I'm not afraid to say that because, again, but like, I don't want to be like, you can't make fun of me, because I make fun of myself all the time. I like when people make fun of me. I think it's just like when I have a funny idea, it's not good enough, or it's like wrong, or like I give the wrong information and someone's like, oh, you're a fucking idiot. I'm like, oh yeah, I am. Now I'm going to feel bad. But if someone made fun of my weight, I'd be like, yeah, it's all right. You can make fun of people when they're little and skinny, but you can't really make fun of someone that's big. Why is that? I'm not saying like go out and fucking make fun of people that are overweight, but it's just one of those things. I feel like it's a double standard. And sometimes like people make fun of me for being little, and I like being little. I'm a little guy. You don't see 6'10", 80-year-olds. I'm going to live forever. Lollipop Guild. Those guys lived until they were like 95. Fun fact, the Scarecrow is from Dorchester, Massachusetts. I don't know why I know that, but keep that in your back pocket when that movie gets brought up. Wizard of Oz is weird because everyone always says there's like a little person in the background that's like committing suicide via hanging. And I don't know why people think that, because it's not in the fucking scene or the movie. People need to stop listening to fairy tales and old wives' tales. Old wives or wise? I don't know the difference, and I don't know which one it is. Is it old wives' tales or old wives' tales? I don't think it's wives, because that doesn't make any fucking sense to me. I am not a smart man. My pre-ritual for this podcast is I look up words, how to pronounce them, while I take my Adderall and wait for it to kick in, and then drink like a C4 or an energy drink. Then I like shake out all my limbs to get the blood pumping. Then I sit down in my chair and forget how to pronounce those aforementioned words. Aforementioned is a big word for your boy, so I know what that word means, and I used it correctly. So, yeah, speaking of Adderall, look at that transition, Tim. God damn, Timmy transitions. I don't know if Adderall's still working for me. I know it's supposed to have me more like interested in certain things. I feel like I'm not listening correctly still. I know like Adderall kind of gives you energy. It's not giving me energy anymore. I just feel like I take it, and I take a lot of milligrams. Like the most you can take in a day, well, you can take as much as you want, but you might overdose on it, and I don't recommend going over the dosage that the doctor gives you. I'm on 50 fucking milligrams. Like, I'm on the horse tranquilizer type kind, and I'm not like gloating about that at all. I don't think that's fun, and it sucks. I gotta take like pills after pills after pills. Taking pills sucks. And yeah, I take 50 milligrams a day. I do an extended release during the day, and then I do a regular one at night. And sometimes I'll go up a little bit. I'm not lying. I don't abuse my medication, but sometimes I need a little bit more. And I think I got to the point where it doesn't work anymore. And I have to figure out what needs to be changed for that to work. And I'm kind of scared. I'm very scared. I don't want to go on another medication and like go through like what the negatives are about it, or the fucking, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know the words at all. That I don't know how to speak. I think that's why I'm not going to do reels, because I'm not good at talking in like one felt swoop. You know what I'm saying? Where I just like sound like a broadcaster. I don't know how people are so good on the reels. Like, celebrities like don't exist anymore. It's like people on TikTok, Instagram, and they have like millions of followers. Granted, they might be fake followers, but I just don't get where people get how funny they are or how creative. There's so many creative and funny people out there, and I want to be one of them. And I don't think I have the chops to do it. But that's just me being negative. Being negative all the time and self-deprecating isn't good for you, and I know that. But I can't compliment myself enough, and I need to do that more. And I know some people kind of give me that push and like say a lot of nice things, but it's very hard. It's very hard to be positive and very hard to think you're a good person or think that you're doing good things. Like, I don't think I'm a great person or anything, but I feel like I'm a decent person. I'm not like a piece of shit. Maybe I've done piece of shit things like most people. But do I think I'm a piece of shit? No, that's a little positive. But am I great? No, kind of negative. Again, favorite color is gray. I'm always like medium. I'm like medium when it comes to steaks. I'm a medium rare guy though. I found out medium rare plus is something where it's medium rare, but just a little bit closer to medium. And it's great. So if you go and get a steak and you usually get it medium rare, get medium rare plus, and they'll know what you're talking about. Unless you go to like a Chili's or a 99 restaurant and try to get a steak there, they're not going to know what the fuck you're talking about. Not to put those restaurants down, but they don't really know what the fuck they're doing. And it's pretty much like play food. Oh man, can't be knocking restaurants I go to. But yeah. So Adderall may improve focus and attention while reducing hyperactivity and impulse behavior. I usually talk about my impulse behavior, which is kind of going to the casino and play a little blackjack. But I don't like put all my money like the psychopaths do. But I've talked about this multiple times, and I'm sorry. Again, if you're a big fan of the show, you know. Adderall works by increasing the amount of dopamine and, noradrenaline. Yep, noradrenaline. I fucking said it. In the brain. Dopamine helps the brain enforce rewarding behaviors, which I've gone over before. Noradrenaline is both a neurotransmitter and a hormone. As a neurotransmitter, it's a chemical messenger, right? That helps transmit nerve signals across the nerve endings to another nerve cell, muscle cell, or gland cell. So it's just nerve cells like connecting. And if you don't know what dopamine is, it's responsible allowing you to feel pleasure, satisfaction, motivation. When you feel good, when you have achieved something, it's because you have a surge of dopamine in the brain. I don't think I have enough dopamine in my head. I'm also part of this Facebook group when someone said I shouldn't be taking Adderall, and because it goes against like your hypomania. And I just feel like everyone's a goddamn professional. They just think because it works for them or they know about, like the guy like said something about like, oh, he had to deal with it for the person that has bipolar. It's like, yeah, that sucks and it didn't work for them, but maybe push them to do something else, which they did. But just because it didn't work for them doesn't work for other people. And I think Adderall did work for me for a little bit. And it's not working in a sense where it's making me manic. It's just not working in the sense where the pros are outweighing the cons. And I don't know what the cons are really, which I should have looked up. I got to look up the cons of Adderall. I try not to be negative. I'm like the person that doesn't watch the news or like to hear about awful shit. Like, I've been really worried about dying lately, but like not just dying regularly, like dying, like getting kidnapped and like having my head cut off. Like, I know that's kind of extreme and the percentage of that happening is very low, but it's something I think about all the time. Is like, I hear about these stories about people dying in awful ways, and I'm like, what is stopping from that happening to me? And I know that's kind of fucked up to think about, but it's what I think about. Does anyone else think about dying all the time? Like, I used to think about dying from like self-infliction. Now I think about dying from like other people, and that scares the shit out of me too. I'm my own worst enemy, and there's other enemies out there. If I die in a crazy way, just know I wasn't happy with how the way I went out. I want to go out like saving a baby from traffic, or like having a piano dropped on my head. Like, those are quick things. I don't want to be like tortured or anything. I think I'm going off the reservation here and talking about dying, and I don't know why. I found this interesting. Adderall isn't approved by the FDA for the treatment of bipolar disorder, like we talked about with that person. He was right pretty much, but Again, it could work for somebody. However, some people may be prescribed stimulants like Adderall off-label during depressive episodes to lift their mood and increase energy, which was what it did for me. Stimulant medications can actually make bipolar symptoms worse. He was right. Often triggering a manic episode. Consult your doctor if that's the case. Again, that's pretty much what I'm saying. Talk to your boy. Talk to your girl. Talk to them. You know what I'm saying? Adderall for bipolar patients can be risky. I like to live on the edge. Someone with co-occurring bipolar and Adderall use disorder is likely to have more severe mood swings. Yeah, I think I need to get off it. I think that person was right. God damn it. I'm not right. And also the FDA confirms the Adderall shortage, which I've gone through. So maybe it's time to get off it so I don't have to deal with it and about trying to get my prescription every time. So if you can't get Adderall, here's some suggestions from experts. They recommend drinking plenty of fluids, eating healthy meals, getting some exercise, and giving yourself time to rest and recuperate if you're experiencing withdrawal symptoms. Over-the-counter painkillers and sleep aids can also provide some relief. That's interesting. It's possible to experience symptoms of Adderall withdrawal. The crash typically occurs when several hours of the last dosage and can continue for up to 2 days. Symptoms can include mental and physical exhaustion, as well as feelings of depression. Yeah, so your boy's a little worried about coming off Adderall because it's probably going to come when I talk to my prescriber. I always forget what I have. I have a psychiatrist. It's like a psychiatrist or a psychologist. The one that can't prescribe drugs is who I talk to. And then I have a prescriber that I talk to very briefly about what's going on and how my sessions go to see how my medications should be prescribed. But again, I'm on Lamictal, Abilify, Wellbutrin, Adderall, and I forget the name of it. But when you get a cold sore, I'm like, again, I always say, if sharing is caring, why aren't cold sores called cool sores? You know what I'm saying? It's not something to brag about, I guess. But I get the good cold sore where it's like on the side of my mouth where I don't talk out of. Because if you haven't noticed, I kind of talk out of the side of my mouth. So it gets in that spot or in the weird side. I'm a weird dude. I can say that pretty openly. I'm a fucking weird dude. And I'm not like quirky weird, like I'm purposely weird. But I'm fucking weird. I like shock myself sometimes. Shrooms, psychedelics, psilocybins. Is that how you say it? See, that's one of the words I try. Psilocybin, which is like boomers. Shrooms can be FDA approved in a few years. Most psychedelics, including psilocybin, are illegal at the federal level in the U.S. No one knows for sure how it might work for treatment of depression, and earlier research showed that less than a third of patients given mushrooms actually improved. And even then, the benefits faded after only a few weeks. I know a lot of people microdose, and I still don't know what really that is. I'm not big into street drugs. You know what I'm saying? I'm over the counter, like, give me the prescribed stuff. That's the good stuff. They did a research of 8.9 million people in the U.S. taking medication to treat depression. A 2021 study estimated that just under a third, or 2.8 million out of the 8.9 million, aren't helped by the drugs. A condition known as treatment-resistant depression, which is when antidepressants don't work for you. That's something that I didn't know about, that treatment-resistant depression, where antidepressants don't work for you. That's got to be so fucking frustrating. So again, when people talk about like ketamine or mushrooms, it's like, yeah, that may work for you. It might not work for the other person. So if you're going through it, I don't even know how this works. Like, I couldn't talk to my guy about like, can you get me some shrooms? Like, imagine that. That's like me going like, can you get me some cocaine instead of some Adderall? That's weird. But I do want to talk about that more. And I'm going to go over a little bit more as this kind of wraps up. Yeah, so a lot of people do that. Yeah, there's a lot of this that I'm going to go into on next week's episode. But But yeah, the trial included 233 participants with moderate to severe treatment-resistant depression. All had tried as many as 4 antidepressants prior to enrollment without success. Psilocybin seemed to work for some participants, at least for a short term. 3 weeks after taking 25 milligrams of the drug, 29% of participants reported improvements in their depression. The researchers found this by 3 months that had fallen by 20% statistically from participants who had a lower dose of 10 milligrams or 1 milligram of the drug. So maybe taking a bunch of shrooms might help you. Again, I'm not saying go out and do some shrooms to help yourself out. If you do it recreationally, that's on you. You might go to jail. You might have a bad trip. I'm not pushing that. I'm just pushing for anybody to get help in some way or another when you talk to a professional. I am not a professional. I am just some dude in a weird closet that talks about mental health and tries to make you laugh. That's all I'm here for. I don't even know if my show's good or not. If it is, let me know. Thank you again for listening to another episode of 22 Minutes. This is episode 102. Holler at your boy. I thank you guys so much. I love you. And have a good one. And we're clear. Clear.
You can kiss my ass.
This podcast is not intended to be a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice of your physician or other qualified health provider with any questions you may have regarding a medical condition. If you are feeling suicidal, please dial 911.